First of all, I'm back after a 3-week break from blogging where I was just, I don't know, I was in New York, I was possibly watching the Oscars, not all night because I didn't want to, because I'm not that depressed, and so on and so forth. Now I was gonna do a blog from New York, but I had a few other things to do at the time, mainly sightseeing and photo taking, and of course eating food, what you do in New York. But I'm back here to do my blog, and I'm doing it on the Oscars. So the announcements have been made, the winners have been done, the tears have flown, the depressing winner's speech has been done, the fact that we've had to nearly shoot ourselves for watching 6 hours of depressing realism, and what we've found out. The same as the BAFTAs. Artist, Best Film, Best Actor, Jean Dujardin, Best Director, Michael Haskington or something like that, and so on and so forth. Meryl Streep, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Christopher Plummer, Best Supporting Actress, Viola Davis, not Viola Davis, I think it's someone else. No, Octavia Spencer, that's one, or whatever, from The Help, and finally, Best Animated, and so on and so forth. Now, not surprised about the main selection of Oscars. I mean, artist, great film, deservedly. Although in the nominations category, it could have included also when you talk about Kevin, Drive, and all those films, and Tic Taylor Soldier Spy. Best Director, no surprise, but as I've said, Lynn Ramsey and the guy who directed Drive, and Thomas F. Francis possibly. Best Actor, wouldn't mind if it's Gary Oldman, but no surprises, and Best Actress Meryl Streep. Not going to say much at all, apart from it was a good performance, but for this film. And so on and so forth. Now first of all, let's talk about the awards that shouldn't have been. Best Adapted Screenplay, first of all. How disappointing is it that the Oscars can't even get the screenplay awards right? They give it to The Descendant, where quite clearly the best adapted screenplay of the Oscars was the screenplay for Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I think it was a brilliant book, and to adapt that into a movie like that deserves an Oscar. It is an incredible film. It's a fantastic performance, it's a fantastic screenplay, fantastic script, and it's a shame the Academy have ballsed up. Also is the animation category. Now I'm glad that Cars 2 was nominated, but I'm bitterly disappointed that they've chosen Rango as the best animated film of the Oscars, where quite clearly there are two deserving films. Shockingly, Puss in Boots, which, despite the fact that it's a DreamWorks film and the fact that the last few Shrek films have been awful, that was one of my favourite animation films. Or even more surprisingly, Chico and Rita, which, as of course, if you are a film geek like I am, you might remember that last year Mark Kermode gave it the Kermode Award for Best Animated Film, and then of course a few arguments later, and it's been nominated for an Oscar, which I mean, blah blah blah. But it's a stupid shame that Rango's won it, where quite clearly it was a very, very stupid, very smart, very over-intelligent and very smug little film. And there you go, that was the Oscars. The awards itself, the ceremony itself, I thought Billy Crystal was very good at it, as was the BAFTAs with Jonathan Morris's shitty performance. Like, I don't know, let's bring Stephen Fry back. Very good. And then with the Oscars, we had James Franco and Anne Hathaway wanting to shoot yourself performance. It's like, that was really boring. What should we do? Get Eddie Murphy. No. Oh wait. He wants the actor director to be there, which we fired. Let's bring back Billy Crystal. I think, no, despite the fact that the whole balls up of it all came, at the end it was a good film with Billy Crystal. Of course, there was some few like little bits where they remember the great people, or weirdly on that selection of people that died to remember, Whitney Houston, understandable. Peter Falk, understandable. Of course, we all know. I mean, I'm no. This may be a film blog, but as a TV person, Columbo was a fantastic detective show. I mean, I may be 20 years old, but bloody hell, was a good show. Also, if you're remembering of Ken Russell, fantastic director. Didn't remember there was a few other people that they've forgotten the dead category. Actually, that's quite horrible, dead category. Sorry about that. If anyone you know did die, I apologise for that. But the people that should have been remembered, they didn't get remembered. John Barry, the composer for the James Bond theme and Taxi Driver, wasn't remembered. He might have been, but might be too upset to see that. But I don't think he was, and it's a bit of a shame, really, if that wasn't the case. And also, what really does tick me off a bit is they miss out a few composers, and they don't really go on a bit too much. But they have a lot about researchers and business people in there. I mean, one of the people that remember him with death was Steve Jobs. Great guy, by the way, but just because he funded Pixar doesn't mean he should be remembered in the Oscars. Oscars are for people that worked either directing films, producing films, making the screenplay, or acting, actressing, whatever. It shouldn't be done for the money men. That's just a bit of a shame, really. But, you know, rest in peace for Steve Jobs, but you're not really an Oscar person to rest in peace for. You're more of a business person to rest in peace with. But enough about that. So yeah, the Oscars end, and we can now talk about the other thing. The future. Well, first things first, I think after the Oscars, I hope next year's Oscars will finally learn to understand that when there's a good film around, like Senna, like Tinker, like We Need to Talk About Kevin, for God's sakes, nominate the film. Don't go, and then let's go for it really dreary and that lot. I mean, come on. This is the Oscars. Or have you not learned any lessons from the 100 years you've been around? And the other thing I've got to say to the Oscars is, why is it that we need a Billy Crystal to save the Oscars when there are perfectly other people that could have done the awards ceremony? In fact, this is my Oscars 2013 ceremony, and I would like to see happen. Number one, nominate good films and films that people are interested in, not dreary films that people don't give a shit about. So, for example, films like We Need to Talk About Kevin, Inception, and those sort of films, nominate them. And films like Midnight in Paris and the 9/11 film, no. That's dreary. Not 9/11, that was a very horrible thing, but the film itself, no. Number two, when nominating documentaries, make sure they are good documentaries and not dreary ones. Number three, when choosing a presenter, don't choose dreary actors and actresses to host the awards, so like 2011, sorry, with James Franco and Anne Hathaway. Instead, but also don't go for like people that don't rely on Billy Crystal all the time. Rely on other people like Jon Stewart, or maybe new people like Stephen Colbert, or maybe Chris Rock, or maybe some other people like that, or maybe Shino. But, you know, think of some new people. Think of anything new, exciting for people to watch. Maybe if it's good, great. If it's crap, oh well. But don't go for actors. Go for comedians. More comedians. Funny comedians. Not me. I'll just be boring the pants out of you. And finally, last but not least, get the old batties out of the Oscars. voting academy, please, and bring some more younger people in there.